Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host here, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode of Freedom Friday, we're going to talk about benefit thieves versus political criminals versus corporate greed. Um, some of them are interchangeable, unfortunately. Some of them are just people trying to scumbag everybody, is what it is there. So, basically, obviously, I got my Magpul hat on today. Uh, so basically, I was watching a video last night from, I think the woman's name is like Lindy Glenn or something. She's got a pretty big following here on YouTube, and she tends to do like various like food stamp fraud videos and like other stuff like that's what it is. And she was talking about what's going on right now with the government shutdown and how you have all these people. And I would say honestly, like from the video she was showing, it was probably like I think it was like two white chicks, and then it would have been like everybody else was some kind of black or like mixed race or whatever it was then. So it's probably like I think there's gonna be like 13 people or something entirely in that whole thing. Maybe 12 or 14 somewhere in there. But yeah, like of everybody that was in it, it was like basically two white women that were babbling on about being fucked over, and then it was a bunch of minorities talking about basically stealing at this point, and it's like what I think is the craziest part too is there was one here in Ohio supposedly who was talking about her criminality shit that she would potentially be doing, and I'm just like, yeah, and these are the exact people who be kicked out the fucking system in the state, dude. Like these are the exact pieces of shit welfare queens that should have never been in the fucking system to begin with in the state or this country, because these are the people that don't need it. These are the people that will have, one, two, three, five, six, seven, eight, 10 kids, whatever it is, with just as many different fathers. And when you are specifically scamming the system, where you are openly waiting like anywhere from like 2 to 3 years in between children, because that is exactly the amount of time to where benefits for the first kid would cut off. And so you'd have to have another kid to get on like WIC or get on like, or continue on like SNAP or whatever it is there. This is the entire problem. And this is exactly what I've said for many, many years now. There needs to be a lifetime ban for people that want to do shit like that, for specifically women that want to continue to get pregnant over and over and over again while being on government assistance is what it is there. Because that way you would actually get rid of a lot of the dumbass pieces of shit, ignorant ass motherfuckers in this country permanently in one fell swoop like that, because they wouldn't be having kids anymore. And you would easily be able to shore up the system as what it is there for people that actually need the stuff, like myself, who are permanently disabled, what it is there. And that's the thing right now, right? Like, I got a letter the other day. I'm trying to fight the people now because when they put my disability, the full check they should have been giving me for the past year now is what it is. They're not trying to fuck my food stamps is what it is, and cut me off by more than half is what it is right now. And I'm like, dude, I barely I went this morning today to go over to Walmart to get some stuff, and I didn't even have enough to cover it with what they gave me for this month. Like I was like almost 100. I think about $50 under actually of what it was that I needed. So, but it's just ridiculous, dude. And it's like there's no reason why you should be having someone who is permanently disabled their entire check, which is less than $1,000 a month, by the way, and I'm paying like $850 or more out in rent and utilities alone. Like, how the fuck does that equate, Versus these fucking dumb cunts who are having, 5, 6, 7 kids on the system and are getting $4,000 or $5,000 a month, also getting Section 8 housing vouchers, also getting WIC, etc. Like, it's a bunch of shit, dude. And this is what I'm talking about. And the worst thing is, like, half of these people or more, they will either be making money off of TikTok videos where they're going out there and openly being like, oh, look at this $3,000 food stamp haul I got, or whatever the case is. Then it's like they're committing welfare fraud and not being arrested for is what it is. That's what pisses me off the most, honestly, I think is what it is. Because as someone who is actually struggling, as someone who actually needs the fucking money to literally live And these fucking scumbags are out here, you know, like basically flaunting their shit of like, oh, well, it's fucking cool, bro. And then they're also the same fucking cunts that'll sit there and bitch and be like, oh, I don't understand why Trump cut my food stamps from fucking $3,000 to $250 a month. I don't understand why Trump fucking took away my Section 8 housing voucher after 2 years when I've been on it for fucking 15 years now. It's like, this is the whole point, dude. It's not supposed to be lifetime shit like that. And it shouldn't be lifetime shit like that unless you are, like, in a situation where you physically cannot work because you're permanently disabled is what it is there. And you can prove permanent disability is what it is, which I can, by the way, at this point. Like, I should be at the top of the list for this kind of stuff, honestly, dude. But yet, God forbid, I'm fucking white, and they fuck me over because I'm white is what it is there. And I'll say that straight up right now, dude, because it's truth. You look at who the most targeted set of people is in this country right now, and it is white men. We get the shaft the most every fucking time, dude. And I guarantee there's going to be somebody out there who's going to be like, oh, well, you're fucking doing, like, trying to claim, like, white supremacist bullshit because they're black supremacists, what it is there. And, yeah, I'm just fucking over it, man, is what it is. So, and I was watching another video this morning where it was, I believe his name is Nick Freitas. He's the guy that was a state rep in Virginia at one point. And I can't remember if he tried to run for governor some years back now or not. I'm trying to think now offhand if he did or not. Maybe he tried to run for U.S. Senate or something. I don't know. He tried to run for office at one point again. He just never got in. That's what it was then. So now he's basically a commentary type is what it is, which honestly, like, he's one of the few guys that if I actually switch people out, like if I was basically in charge of Trump's administration right now, of like who should be kicked out of the administration for different places and who should be replaced with different people is what it is there, I would definitely boot Pam Bondi's ass number one as AG. And I really think that this Nick Freitas guy could easily be a good replacement for her is what it is then. Because the dude's more of a constitutionalist type. He actually gives a shit about Second Amendment rights and stuff like that. And I think he'd be willing to actually go hard and legitimately prosecute Democrats at that point then for the crimes they've committed in office right now. And he was the one that was talking about it in this little, I forget if it was a YouTube short or a Facebook reel, whatever it was, but it was basically this video where he was mentioning, I forget if one was a U.S. Congresswoman or if she was a U.S. Senator, but either way, it doesn't matter. She was some Democrat in power right now is what it is, where she admitted on some interview with the mainstream media the other day that they are actively using the shutdown, Democrats are, as leverage to not only fuck over the American people and make us hurt while they're getting a paycheck, by the way, that you then have them trying to push through a bunch of horse shit and blame Republicans for is what it is. And this is the problem right now when you have, and this is exactly what you got the Democrat mantra right now for the past like 2 to 3 weeks now that the government's been shut down for, is they're all like, oh, well, Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Yeah, and you have to have a little thing called culture. I think that's what it is. Culture, or something like that. I think it's like COLTURE or something. And basically what it is you have to have 60 votes in the U.S. Senate to break a filibuster thing is what it is. Right now you have 2 Democrats, one of them being John Fetterman of all people, and I believe it is 53 Republicans that are on the list. They need 5 more Democrats to jump on board with this, and it could easily, that CR that they're trying to pass right now could easily be passed. And the thing is, the continuing resolution they're trying to pass is stuff that Democrats came up with under Biden's administration. So it's literally a Biden-era bill that Republicans have continued to pass this entire time for the past like 3 years now or so, and are willing to continue to pass that. But the problem is you have these Democrats that want to put illegal aliens on fucking healthcare in this country because they don't give a shit about Americans, because Americans are not the voter race anymore. It's a bunch of illegals that are. And this is exactly why every single one of these Democrats needs to be kicked out for voter fraud, period. And then secondarily, you have this continuation of other bullshit where they're trying to add money back into DEI programs, they're trying to add money back into EV crap, and like a bunch of other fucking wish list garbage that it is there. That, by the way, I want to point everything out on that one is all just Democrat embezzlement. It's literally money laundering to the Democrat Party is what it is. They're not almost every single one of the other things trying to push in that bill. And meanwhile, these cocksuckers are still getting paid this entire time. If anybody should not be getting paid, it should be these fucking cunts. If you're going to openly shut down a government and you're gonna basically admit you're shutting down the government to fuck over the American people and the majority party that's in power right now. No, you need to be gone, dude. Your ass needs to be literally arrested out of office in handcuffs, and you need to be facing high treason at this point. And it either needs to be lifetime imprisonment or death penalty, whichever is fucking easier. Because truthfully, high treason should be death penalty at this point, honestly. But unfortunately, we as a country have become too pussified if we won't do that anymore, is what it is. Even though when you're openly, you know, committing to invasions and stuff like that, to have a voter base, like, no, you need to be, you know, sent off this earth for good, is what it is. But anyway, I don't think Trump has the balls to do that. These Democrats is what it is. That's the problem. And I think that's the issue right now is, you know, it's not a good deal, is what it is, man. And then, like other people were saying to me this morning, biggest Achilles heel that Trump has really is that he gives a shit about optics, is what it is. Because in a real, true just society right now, he would have already had the DOJ, etc., prosecute these Democrat politicians right now for the crimes they're openly committing right now, is what it is. So, but unfortunately, he hasn't done that, and I don't know if he will do that, is what it is. I guarantee that bitch Pam Bondi won't do it, is what it is, because she's fucking a complete and total piece of shit rhino. So, like I said, you have to have a new AG basically in there that would actually want to do their job as it is right now. So, but anyway. So, and then going with the corporate greed thing, well, actually continuing on with the political criminals, what it is there. So, you know, you help Trump do the optics thing, whatever the case be, where he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that because it's like bad optics or whatever. And mind you, this is a man that ran on the whole Doge thing, on the whole, you know, get rid of government waste and stuff like that. But yet, just this past week or so, is now trying to hand $40 billion to Argentina while this shutdown is going on, while people are about to have various government assistance stuff shut off for the next month. And it's like, dude, that just looks really bad in general. It looks really fucking stupid, honestly, too, for that matter. And I'm saying this is someone who voted for that man. And that's the thing. I'm not one of these people that's going to be like, oh, you know, ride or die, suck your dick till you're dead, basically. It's like, no, dude, like, I'm going to sit there and fucking call you out for what you are, is what it is. And if you're doing, you know, political shit that does not benefit America, or doesn't look like it benefits America, and you've run on, you know, the complete opposite of this in the past to get into office again, like, no, I'm going to call you out as a fucking hypocrite piece of shit at that point, is what it is. Now, granted, if Trump came out, you know, today or tomorrow or whatever the case be, and was like, hey, you know, we did this, you know, deal with Argentina for $40 billion where we're handing them this money to, you know, basically get out of government debt there. And in turn, they're going to give us like access to like rare earth minerals or something like that. Like, I could totally see that being the case or something. Like, if that were the case and that is the deal being made or whatever, deal being brokered or whatever it is there, then fucking say that is what it is, you know? Be like, yeah, we cut a deal with Argentina, we're buying their rare earth minerals, and this is the cost of what it is or something. And if he just submitted that shit, like, I guarantee you'd have a lot more people on his side right now, is what it is. But when he's just like, oh, hey, Argentina, you need $40 billion, here you go. Like, again, it just looks like shit optics is what it is, dude. So, just bullshit entirely is what it is there. So, but anyway, and then going on to the corporate greed part of the episode today, then you have all these corporations, a lot of the food corporations in this country specifically, they keep doing the shrinkflation shit, which I don't understand how that's not a criminal charge at this point, because when you're openly deceiving the American people and you're, you know, slowly cutting down the sizes of stuff, and not, the thing is, it would be one thing if you like cut down the sizes of stuff and then cut down the price of stuff, but they're not doing that. What they're doing is they're cutting down the size from like, you know, a pound to like 12 ounces or whatever it is. And then what used to be like $5 for that pound is now like $6.50 for 12 ounces or something. And that's the problem. When you're upping the price and you're downing the quality and the quantity of something, like, how is this not criminal? And I've seen it over and over and over again. And that's one thing that really does piss me the fuck off, honestly, because when you have, I think it's like 6 giant food corporations that control like 95-ish%, I think is what it is. Something like that, maybe 97%, somewhere in there, of our food supply. It's bullshit, dude. And then not only that, but then you also have all these recalls going on right now where you openly have all these people who are in the past like month or so being like, oh, everything's got listeria and now everything's got salmonella in it now. And it's like, does it though? Or are you fuckers trying to like literally just pull this stuff off the shelves so that you can actively hoard for yourselves, is what it is, and keep your families fed, keep your, bunker prepped and stocked, etc. Because that seems like it's a lot more like it is right now. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of people who are these mega corporations, board of directors, etc. there, who are pulling this shit. They're the ones behind all these recalls. They're the ones that are trying to pull off a bunch of food from the shelves and stuff like that. And I believe truthfully it's a coordinated effort at this point between various deep state people in the government and these corporations. Because there's no way it's not, dude. There's no way that like all of a sudden, like, now we got rid of, let's say 1 million fucking illegals or whatever of the country. And now all of a sudden, like all these jobs that should be, pretty clean factories and stuff like that are all of a sudden having like food recalls. Like, seems very fucking convenient is what it is. Also seems very suspect for that matter too, for that, on top of everything else. So, yeah. And then not only that, but like just the way that a lot of these recalls were happening. Like I know that one with the State Fair corn dogs that came out recently, which I actually have some in the freezer right now, is what it is. And I haven't eaten them obviously because of that. And I'm not sure if I will eat them because supposedly they could have, I think it's like wood shavings or something in the actual corn dog breading is what it is there. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably not good. So I mean, I guess I could like cook them and then like just yank the breading shit off and then just eat the actual like hot dog or anything. That's what it is then. But I don't want to waste all that stuff if it's not even in there. Is what it is there. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just chuck them. Is what it is at some point then. But yeah, it's a bunch of shit all the way around. Is what it is, man. And like I said, the real problem I have entirely is like when you have these people who. And I'm not trying to say it's Trump terrorists either, but I believe honestly, and this is what I've called people out on before many times on X and other social media sites, there's what it is under our moniker, is the fact that when you have Democrats who, under Biden's administration, passed the Inflation Reduction Act that I believe printed like, I forget how many billions of dollars it was out of thin air at that point. Which obviously, when you have the dollar's buying power be up here, and when you have all this money being printed up here, all of a sudden you got the buying power of the dollar going down here is what it is. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing right now with all of these, like all the grocery inflation, everything else, like that's what it is there. And I think that's also a mix of corporate greed too, for that matter, where it's a mix of corporate greed and it's also like the fallout of Biden's administration and the Super Inflation Reduction Act crap is what it is. Where when you put, so many dollars into the U.S. economy out of thin air, and you just lower the buying power of the American dollar by how many percent at that point? I don't know if it'll be 1%, 2%, 10%, whatever it is. But it's a lot of fucking money is what it is. And of course I don't know if that's my condenser or what it was, just kicked on my freezer is what it is there in my fridge. So I'm assuming that's coming through in the audio, but who knows? But yeah, it's just like, it's a bunch of shit, honestly, dude. And then going back full circle, when you have all these retarded pieces of shit, welfare queens, etc., talking about going in and stealing stuff from like a Walmart or whatever it is there. I think most of them just mentioned Walmart is what it was, like across the board, it seemed like. And it's like, you're just dumb. Like, you're openly admitting to future crimes at that point. And it's my thing is, it's like, okay, if they're openly admitting to a crime in the future, Like, how are they not being arrested now for admitting to, a felony, basically, is what it is there. So, I mean, I guess because they haven't done the felony yet, like, it would be a whole thing. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. And what I think is funny, too, is, like, I was watching, I forget, I think it was a different video this morning. It was like a Facebook reel or whatever, where it was this black woman talking about these idiots trying to steal stuff or whatever. And it was one of the guys in the comment section was like, oh, if we all do it at once, they can't catch us all, or whatever the case be. And I'm like, you realize these places have cameras and facial recognition technology, right, dumbass? Like, how the hell do you think they're catching these people 6, 8 months, a year, 2 years later that have committed, felony grand theft at that point, or felony larceny is what it is there in these stores when they steal, X amount, like there's people that will go over and steal, like, packs of cards or whatever it is there, and they'll steal, let's say 10 packs of cards at once or whatever. That's like, $200 or whatever the case be the first time around. And they're like, cool, I got away with it. And they go back in, a month later and do the same thing again. And then they get away with that too as well. And then it's like a month later, do it again. And then all of a sudden they're, on the hook for $500+ at that point. And I know here in Ohio, $500 is the minimum amount, where it now becomes a grand theft charge is what it is. And it is like, I think like 6 months to a year in jail, something like that's what it is. Might be a little bit longer than that, depending if you have previous charges and stuff. But the entire point of the matter is, it's like, yeah, these people are just retarded is what it is, dude. And when you're openly admitting to crime, like, you're just a fucking moron is what it is there. And this is the entire problem with our society right now, is it's all these dumb motherfuckers that are being allowed to be left on these programs for years of their lives or decades of their lives, for that matter, instead of kicking their able-bodied asses off and forcing in the requirements is what it is. Like, I know there was one guy that was part of that mix of people. He wasn't bitching about the cutoff here in November. He was bitching about how he's like, oh, well, now they're trying to make me work for fucking EBT and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, like, what the hell do you think Ohio has been for the past, like, decade now is what it is? What do you think a lot of these red states have been for the past, like, 10, 15 years now or so? Every single one of these states has the able-bodied male requirement, is what it is, which honestly, and it should have been, at least for the past 10 years in every single one of these states across the board in this country, it should have been mandatory requirement for any able-bodied adult at that point, whether it be man or woman, should have had to work X amount of time to get assistance is what it is there if they can work. Because this is the problem right now when you have these people that are just like, oh, I'm just waiting for the first to get my new fucking check is what it is there. It's like, well, you're dumb and you're not going to get that check every time is what it is there. And the real problem I have with these people is that they'll go, they'll wait until the 1st or 15th or whatever it is there, whenever their, card is reloaded in most cases. And they'll go on this huge shopping trip. And they'll burn through, a couple $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, to get on the thing for that month or whatever it is there. And they will then turn around, buy a bunch of crap that will only last them for maybe like, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is there. And then that last week comes around and they're like, why am I eating ketchup on a piece of bread? And it's like, because you're not smart enough to actually make that stuff stretch, to actually make a budget and stick by the budget, and then use some of the stuff to get some extras to put back into a pantry. Like, that's my thing right now. Like, even what I'm getting right now, I'm like, I'm trying to do that, but it's almost impossible to do that right now because, again, like, it's very hard to shop frugally in this country when every fucking thing keeps going up $1 here, $1 there is what it is. Like, hell, I went to get, and I'm actually going to call it Walmart for this one this morning. I swear to God, when I went to Walmart at the end of September, so this would have been like the 26th, 27th, something like that, I had gotten a gallon of orange juice then, and it was the Walmart Great Value gallon of orange juice. And I swear that gallon of orange juice was only like $3.50 or something like that. I bought the exact same gallon of orange juice today, and it was $8 fucking. Oh no, sorry, not 8. It was $6.92 is what it was here. Let me go ahead and pull that off, and I'll show you guys. Right here. And I know for a fact it was the exact same one that I got before. So how the hell does that go from like $3.50 to almost $7 fucking in less than a month, dude? And that goes back to the corporate greed shit I was talking about. Like, there's no way that should have doubled in the time span of like a month, unless there was like orange crop issues. But the thing is, that's supposed to be 100% concentrate, so it shouldn't even be an orange crop issue because it's literally like frozen concentrate is what it is then, that they reconstitute into like the bottles is what it is then. So yeah, it's just a bunch of shit, honestly, dude. In fact, I'm gonna look up and see. Oh no, I guess it is $7 now. So yeah, I know for a fact I paid like $3.50 to $4 for that before. So I don't know how the hell it like doubled in that time period then. Fucking crazy, man. Absolutely insane is what it is, dude. So, but yeah, like I said, it just really bothers me in general. And that's the thing, man. Like you're trying to get ahead, and you can't even really get ahead is what it is there because it seems like everything's just going up and up and up. And like I said, the price is going up, and the quality is going down, the quantity is going down. And it's like something's gonna break, dude. And I swear to God, like I feel like this is what's led to revolutions in this country before, and like wars and stuff. And I would not be surprised if it did the same thing again. And the issue is that, unfortunately, going back, full circle to local criminal stuff, is you have these people, specifically in the Democrat Party, that are trying to do like the whole blame the opposition, Republican Party, et cetera, there, when they know damn well they're the ones to blame. And so they're trying to steer these useful idiots, is what it is, into potentially doing harm to the Republicans in power right now. And I'm not trying to say there's not some rhinos in there, obviously, and do kicked out of office as it is there, but like, I think they're going to try and Charlie Kirk some of the people. That's what I'm thinking right now, is the way Democrats are, obviously, because, as we've seen in the past, like, when they can't win arguments, they'll just bring a gun to a fucking mic fight, is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, needless to say, it's absolutely disgusting is what it is, and I'm pretty much done with all of it, what it is, man. But the entire point I'm trying to make, though, is that I believe that we are definitely, like, on the cusp of something bad right now. And, even going to here in Ohio, like, you had that fucking idiot Mike DeWine come out, and he was talking about Stark County, where I'm at right now, and about how there might not be enough money to get the benefits covered here is what it is for the next month. And I'm like, dude, you have like $2 billion almost, or maybe more than now I'm thinking about it, in this rainy day fund that's been untouched in this state for more than a decade now. I believe it was at least, I want to say it was, the last time it was touched was either like middle of Case's administration, or it might have been the guy before him even. So it's probably more like 15 years or so now that I'm thinking about it. So it would be more like, or no, probably more like 20 years now, actually. So it would have been like maybe like Bob Taft or somebody was in power then. But yeah, you have this entire rainy day fund that could easily be cracked open. You could have a couple $1 million taken out. That is what it is there, and just cover this shit. And it's like this is exactly why these rainy day funds exist, man. It's for stuff like that. Like, hey, you got a shortfall, cool, then short the fuck up. Hey, you got a disaster like East Palestine, take the money out and fucking fix the problem. But they're not doing that. And this is exactly why Mike DeWine is a failure in this state entirely. Because what does he do instead? He tries to attack weed stuff. Recently, he tried to literally ban Delta 8 and Delta 9 products for the next 90 days. And thankfully, there was a judge, I believe it was in Franklin County there, that told him to go eat shit is what it is. They're like, no, we're injunctioning your stuff immediately. Go fuck yourself. And so as far as I'm aware, they can still be sold. And I know for a fact there's a lot of these weed shops, or I guess it would be technically vape shops around here that are, low-key weed shops is what it is there that sell the Delta 8 and Delta 9 products. And like other stuff like that's what it is. Like CBD stuff is what it is. And that's their entire business is what it is, man. So you're trying to put these people out of business for no reason at all because you're an asshole, because you're a fucking scumbag, big pharma, corporate greed motherfucker is what it is, whose entire net worth is basically tied to pharmaceutical companies is what it is there. And this is the entire problem when you have these companies and these corporations being able to line politicians' pockets is what it is there to get them into power is what it is. Because then it turns into this whole shit show is what it is there. And I remember years ago somebody mentioned it, and it became like a meme over time where it was like, talking about politicians should wear like kind of like a NASCAR jacket where it's like all the different corporations that are sponsoring them and stuff like that and who they're indebted to, et cetera there. I don't disagree with that at this point, honestly, dude. And I'll go one further than that, actually. Tattoo that shit on their face is what it is, dude. Like have a big Pfizer fucking, tattoo on the side of their cheek or something like that, or have a big old like Israel tattoo across their fucking forehead for the APAC money they're taking or something like that. That's what it is there. So, any of that stuff. Which, by the way, I want to point that one out real quick. The fact that Israel's little APAC thing does not have to register as a foreign agency when it clearly is absolute bullshit. And the reason I bring that up, obviously, is because you had like a lot of people calling out now is what it is. Like even Vance was calling out how, because I guess he was in Tel Aviv recently on some trip there to Israel, and he mentioned how, as he was getting onto Air Force 2, I believe was what it was, you had, I forget which part of the West Bank it was there, but there was supposed to have been a peace treaty between Israel and Hamas right now, to where there was going to be no fighting, it was going to be a total ceasefire, et cetera there. And now supposedly you have Israel basically reneging on the deal with Trump there is what it is, and trying to fuck him over now is what it is. And now they're basically trying to occupy like part of the West Bank is what it is there. And Vance rightfully called it out, and he's like, this is some bullshit, dude. Like, no, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what we're allowing you guys to do. Here's what it is. And this is the problem when you have our country basically being controlled by another country right now is what it is. And that country being Israel, obviously. This is a huge fucking issue right now, dude. You cannot sit here, and I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, whatever the case be, independent, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself at that point. If you're claiming to be an America First candidate, that means America above every other nation, motherfucker. It's not, hey, take $1 million fucking dollars from Israel through APAC and then claim to be America First, while you're clearly doing the business interests of Israel at that point then and making them a beneficiary of stuff while you're fucking over the American people is what it is then. And this is my biggest problem right now. And this is why I'm actually currently going to do some serious research for 2026 right now. And I will tell you right now, if I find any candidate in any race right now in the state of Ohio that's APAC funded, I am calling them out by fucking name at this point. And I will never vote for that motherfucker ever. And that's just everybody else does not vote for that person because they are definitely should be considered a fucking foreign asset at that point then. Because they're not America First. They're not for Americans. They are 100% for themselves, and they are 100% indebted to another fucking country, and it is not okay at all, dude. So, And then, of course, when you try to make these arguments, everybody's like, oh, it's anti-Semitic. No, it's not, dude. You're a fucking moron. Calling out the problem when you see it is why we cannot have these discussions when it is there. When you call it the problem and somebody tries to claim some bullshit, that is the fucking person that's pushing the propaganda is what it is then. So it's like we called out this morning on the network's page. There was some chick who was babbling on about the shutdown and stuff like that and being Republicans' fault and stuff like that. In her bio, she literally had 3 flags. She had Israel's flag first. She had Ukraine's flag second. She had America's flag third. And I rightfully called her out on that one. I'm like, yeah. So you're basically Israel first, Ukraine second, and America last. So, yeah. Because it's true, honestly. Like, just by how she had the flags put on the thing, there's what it is. But anyway. But no, like, that's the thing. Like, America should be an isolationist country right now is what it is, dude. We should not be the world police. We should not be trying to fund the world. We should be funding ourselves. We should be fixing our own problems here. We should be making sure that Americans are good to go, food secure, etc., etc. You know, that we actually have a productive country, that we have a manufacturing country, that we're not just a consumer nation, that we actually can produce again and produce for the world is what it is there. If the world wants to buy from us, cool. But until that happens, every other country can go fuck off is what it is, dude, for real. And that's what it needs to be. It needs to be every other country needs to be told to go eat shit, basically. And I would go as far as to say, especially stop fucking, funding all the rockets overseas is what it is. We don't have enough rockets here in America to fund our own military is what it is there, dude. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, if you look right now, like, because of how stupid a lot of the stuff is in our country right now, because it should, like, that's the thing. Like, back during, like, World War I, World War II and stuff like that, you had redundancy to redundancy to redundancy is what it was. And it was, it basically goes back to that whole, like, 2 is 1, 1 is none moniker, where it's basically if you have one thing, you have none. And if you have 2 things, you have 1. If you have, 4, you have 2, etc. there. And it's because it's redundancy is what it should be. And so back in those days, we would have, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 corporations, whatever it is there, who were producing, planes, producing steel, producing, rocket material, whatever it was at the time. Now, here in America in 2025, you have one company that does all that shit. You have one company that makes missiles. You have one company that makes various parts for missiles. You have one company that makes tires for vehicles, etc. It's so fucking retarded. And even going back to when the whole Russia-Ukraine thing kicked off, when we were taking recoilless rifles out of the hands of American special forces that were in the field at the time, by the way, using this stuff, and you were literally taking the rifle out of their hand and being like, sorry, bro, I gotta send this to Ukraine now for them to fight with it. Like, what the hell kind of fucking retarded ass nonsense is that, bro? No, you get like 4 to 5 gun companies together and you have them make a bunch of these fucking guns. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, it's not that hard. And this is what I'm saying. Like, it's just fucking retardation at all fronts is what it is there, dude. And it doesn't matter, like, who's in power at that time, Republican, Democrat, etc. Like, they're all dumb motherfuckers what it is there. They're all bullshit wings of the same fucking bird. We need a whole new fucking bird. And we need, like, 30 new fucking birds is what it is there. And this is what I've said several times, like, the biggest problem I've had since I was a child, honestly, is the whole, like, 2-party system. Like, you cannot sit there and tell me that we can sit there and have, a Miss America where you got 50 different chicks on the fucking stage, and yet when it's all said and done, it come down to 2 political parties. Are you fucking kidding me? No, there should be like 50 at least. There should be 100 or more for that matter. And that's the thing. Like, I would be more inclined with a lot of these Democrats if they would just call themselves communists, if they would just call themselves socialists legitimately, dude. and run underneath those parties is what it is then. Or in the same aspect of things, if you actually are a constitutionalist, like run under a constitution party. If you're a fucking, you know, libertarian, run under a libertarian party and have those people take power for a little bit. There's what it is. Now, granted, the problem I personally have with the original libertarian party is that it was obviously created by really pissed off Democrats, is what it was back in those days. I don't know why I'm not sure why the fuck my video keeps clicking on and off right now. My signal keeps dipping real bad, what it is right now. Maybe the weather and stuff coming through. But anyway, so you had like a bunch of disenfranchised Democrats back in, I think it was late 60s, early 70s, someplace in there. And that's basically who created the Libertarian Party back then. That's why you see like a lot of what libertarian ideals are and stuff like that, being like pro-abortion and things like that, what it is there. That's where all that crap got kicked in from. And then, of course, all the freedom stuff from, you know, pro-gun, etc. there was all from like disaffected Republicans at the time that joined up that party, is what it was too, for that matter. And so that's basically why their whole platform is like a mix of like two parties, basically. And the issue I have with that, obviously, is that, you know, going back to when I actually went a libertarian for a little bit in my life, which was about a year or so, give or take, between like the 2014 midterms and like 2015 or so, give or take, is what it was. Or no, sorry, it was 2013, end of 2013, or May 2013. Yeah, it was like May of 2013 through the midterms of 2014, because that was when the 2014 election cycle was when that piece of shit John Kasich ended up trying to get reelected then, and basically fucked over the Libertarian Party in the state from not being able to be on the ballot anymore for primaries and stuff like that, and not be considered to be recognized or whatever as a party, is what it was then, which is completely unconstitutional and completely illegal, by the way. And thank God the people that are behind the Libertarian Party of the state have now, you know, in the past like 10 plus years now, have actually clawed their way back into being able to be, you know, on these ballots, so it is then. But anyway, so the entire point was, though, is that back in those days, when you had Ron Paul running for president back in 2012, which, looking back on it, I really wish I would have changed my vote to that man, because he would have been a much better president than that piece of shit Obama for a second term. But, you know, I was still in that kind of mindset myself back then of like, oh, you know, well, lesser of two evils. Like, is Obama less evil than Romney? And it turns out he was way more evil than Romney. Romney was just a fucking douchebag, is what it was. But Obama was just fucking demonically evil, is what it is there, dude. Not to mention he's also a child molesting piece of shit. And that's, by the way, by the admission of Chrissy Teigen, John Legend's wife, who admitted that she, John Legend, and Obama were literally molesting children at the White House. That's why you had Obama do all those parties with the whole, like, hot dog and cheese pizza shit, is what it was there, because it was all the code words for little kids and stuff, dude. It's just fucking disgusting, is what it is. So, anyway. But, yeah, if there's one motherfucker that should be literally rotting away in prison right now, it's definitely Barack Obama for sure. Just for that stuff alone. And I honestly think, going back full circle to political criminal stuff is what it is there, I think the only reason that Trump himself has not released the Epstein files right now is because there is a lot of Israeli people on them, is what it is there. It's like Netanyahu, etc. there is what it would be. So, and honestly, like, I will say one thing. I know there's been talk of like Antichrist and stuff over the years and decades and things like that. So I was watching something the other day where it was Trump basically saying how great Netanyahu was at some event or whatever it was there. And then they cut to Benjamin Netanyahu there. And I'm like, this dude looks like fucking Satan. Like, he seriously looks like he's like the Antichrist is what it is, dude. And I would not be surprised by it, honestly, dude, if that were the case. So, like, he just looks like super fucking evil. Like some Mr. Burns kind of shit where it's like, yes, yes, let the hate throw through you, or whatever the case be, kind of shit, like Star Wars kind of thing or whatever. So, I don't know. Like, it's just really fucking creepy and disturbing all the way around, but it is what it is. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple weeks here and stuff. I think there's going to be I think you're going to see a huge uptick in shoplifting. I think you're going to see a huge uptick in dumbass people being arrested and charged with felonies before Thanksgiving. Here's what it is, because they're stupid and retarded morons. And I think you're definitely going to see some various things happen is what it is there. So I would say, honestly, just stay strapped, man. Stay strapped, stay situationally aware, etc. there. Because you never know how crazy things are going to get. And I know for a fact, like, we've had this, that the thing I think people don't realize is we've had this one time before in American history, and it was Obama's administration back in 2013. And I do want to point this out for those who don't know. The EBT system, the cards themselves, are all under the control of Chase Bank. If Chase Bank literally wanted to flip a switch today and we're like, cards are cut off, and just leave that switch flipped off is what it is, they could do that. And that's what they did back in 2013 is what it was, for about a week or so, give or take. And I believe that was a test run to see just how quickly people would freak out, basically. And it was during that time, and I was trying to look for the videos today is what it was, but I can't find them because I think they're so old, or maybe they've been deleted off YouTube here by, the algorithms and stuff like that is what it is or something. But there was videos from back in 2012, and I forget which state it was in. I want to say maybe Memphis, Tennessee area, or something like that. Or one of those like major cities like that's what it was there. But you had these people that had their cards shut off or whatever, or there was like a glitch in the system, whatever it was there. And so they were showing no balance on their card or whatever it was. And they realized that, and they called up all their buddies and everything else like that, and they all, descended up on this one Walmart. And I think there was a couple different Walmarts that had this happen to them, was what it was. And so they were sitting there getting these cartloads of food, knowing that they had like maybe 30 cents left on their EBT card or whatever it was for that month. And they were trying to buy like $500, $600 worth of food back then, which, by the way, nowadays would be probably like the equivalent of about $1,200 worth of food is my guess. So as soon as the system updated then and like switched itself back into place or whatever it was then, these people realized they had nothing on their cards. They just abandoned these carts of food everywhere. And you literally had these different stores, different Walmart stores, that's what it was, had to throw away like, I think it was about $30,000 to $40,000 worth of food is what it was then. From all these assholes that basically left all these carts of, meat and all kinds of frozen stuff that were on the expensive side and stuff like that. And it's just absolutely disgusting is what it is, dude. And I think that's what we're going to see again nowadays is what will happen. But even more so because now you have these other retards that were, 10, 11, 12 years old back then that are now, 22, 23, 24, have had kids themselves at that age, and are basically these welfare queens for another generation is what it is then. And so it would be the kids, the previous welfare queens, that are now the more entitled welfare queens now is what it is, that are, literally going on TikTok, etc. there, and openly saying that they're going to murder people is what it is, over fucking food. And if somebody tried to stop them, etc., from stealing, that they would do that obviously as well. And it's like, and you wonder why you're considered the problem race in this country. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason for that, man. When you were openly admitting to murder. And like I said, going back full circle to that Lindy Glenn woman's video from yesterday, the one thing I thought was very interesting, there was this mixed race chick that was one of the people that was talked about in it. And what was crazy to me was the leap that she made and how quickly she made this leap as it was, which was this girl who was probably like 21-ish, give or take, I would say. Like, I'm not sure about age, honestly. She might have been like 24, 25 for all I know. Or hell, she might have even been 19 for that matter. But the entire point is, though, is that she went from, oh, we're not going to have no money on the food stamps now, to they want us to sell our pussies. So her leap was literally not go get a job, not go get, not go find a gainful employment is what it was. It was, no, they're going to cut off my welfare assistance. So now I'm going to go escort and into prostitution. Like, what the hell kind of retarded ass fucking low IQ shit is that, dude? Seriously. Like, this is exactly why I do truly believe that Margaret Sanger created the whole Planned Parenthood thing back in the day, dude. Because she saw these motherfuckers back then and she was like, nah. Unfortunately, it was some other Democrat that created the welfare system back in the 60s, what it was then. And so it kind of counterbalanced each other, what it was then. So, obviously, I'm making a joke, people. I'm not about eugenics. But, yeah, actually, it's ironic because there are still a bunch of black kids who are murdered every day at Planned Parenthood, is what it is there. Actually, that's why they put them in the ghettos for the most part. So, but yeah, there's also like that balance out where now it's basically all these people that have continued to have kids for the welfare system that is there, and I think basically it would be a self-correcting problem if we just cut these people off as it is then, because it would be them not being able to get the kids anymore, to get free shit is what it is there, and that's and the problem there is like these children never did anything wrong, dude. Like, I'm gonna be serious and honest about that real quick. Like, you're an innocent baby, dude. You're an innocent toddler, etc. You were not asked to be born to some piece of shit parent like that. You're just trying to live your life. You're just trying to, hopefully your mom or dad or whoever it is provides for you. But that's the problem again. It's like when you have, this woman that lays down with 10 different men and has a child with each one of them. It's like, how are you not supposed to sit there and look at that woman as a piece of trash, basically, dude? And then they're going to sit there and bitch about, like, oh, my food stamps are cut off now. It's like, yeah, because you shouldn't have laid down with 10 different men. You should have laid down with one man that you married and had a whole family with of, 5, 6, 7 kids to where the two of you could work and take care of those kids. So we really need two-parent households again is what it is. And I believe truthfully when it comes to specifically the black race in this country, I think one thing that is the root cause of everything problematic with that entire place is what it is there is the fact that you do not have fathers in a lot of these homes is what it is. Now, granted, that's not the case in every single case because you can look at pieces of shit like Carmelo Anthony or still murderers and stuff like that is what it is there who had mom and dad in the household, chose to kill somebody anyway. So that was just bad. I think that was just bad parenting across the board on that one in some cases, but that was also just a demonic evil that is there. So anyway, the entire point I'm trying to make though is that you have these people who refuse to take responsibility, accountability, etc. for anything that they do or anything that their community does, versus every other race in this country, white, Asian, Latino, etc., will call out and condemn the pieces of shit among us is what it is, dude. But the one thing I've seen time and time again when it comes to black people, and specifically it's ghetto black people, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the YN types, is what it is there, or just the N types in general. These are the motherfuckers that will sit there and glorify and hold up the worst among their communities as if they're heroes. And it's just absolutely disgusting. It fucking infuriates the shit out of me. And I think it infuriates the shit out of most people at this point, dude, because it's like, dude, you could easily be part of something better, but you were choosing the worst among you to represent you. And then you wonder why people consider you a piece of shit too, is what it is then. Like, it's not that hard to figure out, honestly. But that being said, I got some stuff I gotta do. We're almost an hour in anyway. So I gotta finish eating breakfast / lunch here is what it is. But I picked up some stuff from Walmart earlier, and it's obviously gotten cold in the last 45 minutes or so since I started the stream. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna tomorrow for Slicey Boy Saturday. You'll see a haircut because this hair is going to be gone in about an hour or so because I'm planning on going to get a haircut here in a little bit. So yeah, so my hair is going to be Beard's still going to be obviously pimped out, but the hair is going to be all down to buzzed up again as what it is there. So I think it'll look a lot better too, for that matter, because it's been about a month or so overdue now is what it is. But yeah, so basically my plan right now is to go get a haircut here in the next half hour or so, and then I'm just going to go to my chiropractor and stuff like that, and I'll be back around again tomorrow. I'm also going to check out, when I was at Walmart earlier, I got a couple of those new Ozark trail knives that came out. They didn't have everything on the thing, unfortunately, because they just had like a small display sitting there where they should have had 2 different displays as it was with all of them there. And they had a couple that I wanted to get, and they had several that I couldn't end up finding because they didn't have any on the things that it is there. And then I didn't see any other spot they would have had for anything in the case or anything like that. So I just said, fuck it. And I figure what I'm going to do is I will, there's 2 other Walmarts I could check out. There's one that's in the ghetto that I don't really want to go into because it's fucking, the Canton one that's just garbage in general. And there's cops out there every fucking day is what it is there. I'm surprised that's still even open at this point, honestly. But yeah, I could always go check that one out, but I don't really want to do that. But there's one right by my chiropractor's office up there in Belden that I probably will check out, though. And I'm going to see if they have, because the ones I could not find specifically that I wanted to pick up today were the Ridgeline one that they have now of the Ozark Trail knives. And then I forget what it's called, like the Trailman or something, which is like a nice, big, thick one is what it is there. It's a folder. And those are the 2 that I could not find on that little rack is what it is. They had pretty much everything else I wanted, but they did not have those 2 is what it was. So I'm going to check this other store and see if they have those 2 in stock or not. And if they do, I'm going to pick up at least one of each of those then. So, but yeah. So tomorrow, Slicey Boy Saturday, will be Ozark Trail Knives. And we'll do a whole review of the new ones that are out now, what it is. And I'm actually going to do a comparison because I ended up picking up a single one of the Zephyr is what they call it now, which was the $5 knife back last November, I think is what it was, for their Black Friday sales. And now it's $8, but it has like a reversible clip thing on it, is what it is there, which is that worth $3 to me? Not really, but I did pick up another one just because I wanted another one as it was there. And I also want to do a comparison too. And I also picked up another one of the fixed blades that they had that I've gotten previously that's now called the Eagle Rock. So I want to see if there's any real difference between those 2 as well, for that matter. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think all those Ozark Trail knives are like 3CR13, I believe is what it is. MOV. I think that's what they are. I could be wrong about that one, but I think I've heard that before. So unless it says otherwise, obviously. But yeah. So I'm definitely going to see if I can pick up a Ridgeline and I think it's a Trailman's what the other one's called, at this other store. If I can't, I can't. It's whatever. But if I can, I'm definitely going to, grab one of each of those then for sure. So they might just have one of each for that matter, for all I know. Because I know with some of the ones I got today, even there was only like one of each of the ones on the freaking shelf is what it is. They also have a new folder that came out, I guess, here earlier this month is what it was, that has no name at all to it. And I ended up picking up one of those too because it looked pretty slick and cool. So we'll discuss that guy too, is what it is there. I'll just refer to it as the Falcon right now. That's what it is. I have no idea if they're going to name it at some point in the future or not. Kind of looks like a little bit of a Falcon, though, is what it is. So anyway, but yeah, other than that, like I said, I got some stuff I got to do, and we pretty much beat this one in the ground already is what it is. I honestly probably could have gone for about 20 minutes, honestly, on this video. Just because of the fact that like the last 40 minutes or so was just me reiterating certain things and here and there is what it is. So, but yeah, so to be honest with you guys, like there's a mix of problems in this country right now. You have benefit thieves that are a problem. You got political criminals that are a problem. You got corporate greed that's a problem. And unfortunately, a lot of it interchanges with each other is what it is there. So until you fix the problem completely, which is either we just kick everybody out and start fresh right now, which is a very real possibility, by the way, in 2026, because it will be the one time in American history in about 45 to 50 years, give or take, is what it is, that it's somewhere between like 2/3 and 3/4 of Congress / U.S. Senate up for election there at one time. And if we voted out, if we as a collective American people said no incumbents get back in, fuck them all, we're choosing new people completely. If we actually came together and did that as a solidarity deal, we could get a bunch of good people in these races right now across the board in all 50 states right now is what it is. And you could have several hundred new good people in power right now is what it is, dude. Is that going to happen? Probably not, because again, you know, when you don't have election audits in this country, when you have voter fraud be a huge thing in this country, nothing's ever going to change until we actually start having a mandatory election audit in every single election in this country. And anybody that refuses to do that, whether it be a Democrat governor, whether it be a Democrat AG, whether it be a Republican AG or Democrat or Secretary of State or whatever the case be, they need to go then. They need to go off to prison. That's what it is, dude. They need to be arrested out of office. They need to be charged immediately for election interference, etc. there. And they need to be removed completely is what it is there. And I think one of the best places we can start right now is California with Newsom and company. They're obvious cheaters. You could also do Michigan for Whitmer, Nessel, Benson, etc. They're guaranteed fucking cheaters. And just go across the lines what it is there, dude. And we just start doing election audits across the board right now. And anybody that refuses to do one as a state, guess what? They get a representation for the next election cycle going forward with what it is there until they do that thing. And if we did that correctly, you would pretty much have like several hundred people right now that just wouldn't be in office ever again is what it is there. Because I guarantee California would be one of the ones that would be kicked out completely. You'd have New York be kicked out completely. You'd have probably Michigan be kicked out completely is what it is there, at least some aspect of the thing anyway, for at least an election cycle or two. Yeah, you would have a lot of Democrat fuckery. Get the boot is what it is then. So, anyway. That's about it though. Like I said, until later, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Always be carrying, always be situationally aware, always be ready to roll, and know exactly what you need to do at all times and what needs to be the procedure, etc. And I think actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I didn't carry it out today yet, but I think when my cousin rolls back around, I'm going to go ahead and take the pain pen with me today is what it is then. Just to have with me is what it is there as a potential backup piece. For those who haven't seen it yet, this is the pain pen. You got your little prongs right there at the front. You have your flip switch right here that turns it on and powers it up. And then when you hit the little button right there, it gives a little bug zapper jolt to you. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and take that with me today. I don't think anything's going to happen, but, you know, you never know, man. You never know. So, it's better to have redundancy and less lethal than, you know, just a pistol and a knife, basically. So, I also carry pepper spray, obviously. But, you know, never know. You need to... Obviously, I'm making jokes right now because, yeah, this fucking asshole back here, he, I don't know what the fuck he's doing with his buddy this morning. He, if I didn't know any better, I think the two of them, like, were doing drugs or something and then passed out and then woke up again. And we're going to buy, like, more smack or something because I heard nothing for hours and I was half asleep myself right here on the chair is what it is. And then all of a sudden, it was about 2 o'clock this morning, maybe 1:50 or so, give or take. I end up hearing people talking, and they're like talking and talking and talking, and like whispering and stuff like that. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then It was about 220-ish, give or take, maybe 223, 224, someplace in there. You had this asshole and his friend walk out of the apartment there. I think they came down the sidewalk here past my place, and I heard them obviously like whispering across the board, like near my door is what it was there. And then they walked down, obviously, someplace. I have no idea where they were after that. And it was actually very creepy because it was right after that, like, I couldn't hear anything coming from my fridge, like any kind of noise or whatever the case be. Like, it was just totally dead silent. Like, you could basically have a pin drop, and you could hear the pin drop, obviously. It was so quiet. Very creepy. And so I'm just, like, looking around. This is, like, 2:30 in the morning this morning. And I'm, like, waiting for something to happen or whatever. And nothing goes down. And then I end up trying to fall asleep not long after that. And then it was around 3:43, I think is what it was, 3:33, 3:44, something like that. The retarded ass trash people came through this morning, knocked the fucking dumpster around, woke me out of a dead sleep, obviously, and then I was awake for about the next hour or so. And then I was just about to fall asleep again. It was around 4:45 this morning, and I hear this fucking jackass and his moron friend walk back through. And I know for a fact they did not just, keep me awake. They definitely woke up the people across the fucking courtyard thing, and I guarantee they probably woke up the rest of this complex too. And I'll tell you what, like, I was so ready to just knock on that guy's door and punch him in the fucking mouth, honestly. Like, I was that pissed this morning. So, because for two reasons, obviously. Number one, he's breaking quiet hours, which are, I believe, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. or so at that point, because you're like 15 minutes before 5 a.m. And then secondarily, you're just being an asshole is what it is, dude. For no reason. Like, you could easily keep it down. So I don't know if where they went was to go get drunk or get laid or buy some drugs or what the fuck it was. It could have been any of that stuff. But it was just very strange to have them leave at like 2:30 and then show back up like right before 5 o'clock this morning. So, especially considering, as far as I'm aware, neither one of them had a vehicle. So they would have had to walk wherever it was then. So, and I know for a fact the bars around here, if they are open, they close by 2 a.m. is what it is then. Or even 1 a.m. for that matter. So I would think it wouldn't be, unless maybe they were like hanging out with a buddy that left the bar or something like that is what it was then or something. But either way, it's just ridiculous as what it is. And like I said, it's just, it was him being an asshole for no reason what it was then, which I haven't contacted my landlord yet, but I'm seriously going to do that here. I think in a little bit I'll text him and let him know what's going on is what it is then, and see if he actually does anything about it. Because technically, this was like, I forget how long ago it's been now. I think it was back in like July or something maybe is when I got this fucker jacking my power that day. That should have been an immediate evictable offense right there. Like, that should have been gone in the next 24 to 48 hours after that's what it was then from the landlord. But the landlord hasn't done shit since then. And that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody else in this complex is a dick. Like, nobody in that complex is a dick. Like, nobody in the complex next to ours is a dick. Like, this guy's a fucking asshole. And a dickhead. Like, when you have a fucking problem here, dude, like, get rid of this fucking problem. But I don't know. I seriously considered calling the cops this morning, but then I don't think they really would have done anything is what it was, because it would have been like, oh, well, it's just noise or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's noise when I'm trying to sleep at fucking 4:45 in the morning, people. So I don't know. It's just really fucking annoying either way. But anyway, my cousin should be giving me a call back in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day then on that one. But yeah, if anything happens, I wanted this to be on record right now. So anyway, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and contact my landlord here in a few minutes, is what it is, and then let him know what's going on, and hopefully he'll actually do his job then as a landlord and be like, yeah, we're definitely going to evict this motherfucker. That's what it is. Or I'll even just let him know. I'll be like, hey, man, like, here's the deal. Like, this to me is strike two. If I have a strike through with this guy, like, 100% the cops are being 100 million nice what it'll be then. So, because the thing is, it's not like this is just like, you know, one and done kind of situation. It's like, this is an ongoing asshole behavior by this fucking guy. It's like, I swear to God, it's almost every single fucking night now for like the past 2 months or so. I hear him hop on and carry on in there, and it's after the time that we should be quiet hours when it is there. It's like, hey man, if you want to be loud and obnoxious, like, cool, move someplace else then. But I'll put up with that crap because I'm not gonna put up with this what it is there. It's like, it's bad enough I got the fucking trains coming through so often, which thankfully there hasn't really been too much train noise today is what it is, but you know, it is what it is though. So. But yeah, it's like I can deal with one or the other. I can deal with the trains, or I can deal with this fucking clown. I can't deal with both is what it is, man. But anyways, on that note though, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you all tomorrow for Slicey Boy Saturday, where we'll be going over a bunch of Ozark Trail knives. And until then, I will be back at it. And as I said earlier, always be carrying, always be armed, always be ready, and always make sure that you are in the right, because you have the right to self-defense in this country, and nobody should be able to take your life just because they want to be a piece of shit criminal. And it's that simple. Peace out, you guys. Stay safe.